My dears, I'm Patricia Polacco, and I live in Michigan, a very long distance away from you young folks in Texas. But I have been asked to read a story that is very near my heart to you because of the turmoil and the disaster that you are now experiencing, the terrible hurricane. The story I'm about to read you comes from my childhood because here in Michigan, we have terrible storms. Our storms end up, though, usually in tornadoes, not hurricanes. But I tell you, the thunder here booms so loud, it literally shakes the windows in their panes. It shakes the floor. It's as if there's an earthquake. And when I was a very small child, it scared me to the depths of my soul. I used to either run and hide in a closet or I got under my bed because I felt so unsafe. So this is the story that I have written many years later about my fear of thunder and how my wonderful grandmother from the steppes of Russia helped overcome this feeling. The book is called Thunder Cake, and it gives me great pleasure to read it to you today. On sultry summer days at my grandma's farm in Michigan, the air gets damp and heavy. Storm clouds drift low over the fields. Birds fly close to the ground. The clouds glow for an instant with a sharp, crackling light, and then a roaring, low, tumbling sound of thunder makes the windows shudder in their panes. The sound used to scare me when I was little. I loved to go to my grandma's house. Babushka, as I used to call my grandma, had come from Russia years before. But I feared Michigan summer storms. I feared the sound of the thunder, and more than anything, I always hid under the bed when the storm moved near the farmhouse. But this is the story of how my grandma, my babushka, helped me overcome the fear of thunder. Now, if you look at this illustration, she's gazing off in the distance. She's seeing dark clouds coming, probably from the southwest. Grandma looked at the horizon, drew in a deep breath, and said, "This is thunder cake baking weather, all right. Looks like a storm is coming to me." "Child, you come out from under that bed. It's only thunder you're hearing," my grandmother said. And there I am, under the bed. I don't know how I thought that was going to help, but that's where I felt safe. The air was hot, heavy, and damp. A loud clap of thunder shook the house, rattled the windows, and made me grab her close. "Steady, child," she cooed. "Unless you let go of me, we won't be able to make thunder cake today." "Thunder cake?" I stammered as I hugged her even closer. "Don't pay attention to that old thunder, except to see how close the storm is getting. When you see the lightning, start counting, real slow. When you hear the thunder, stop counting. The number it is on is how many miles away the storm is. Do you understand? We need to know how far away the storm is so we have time to make the cake and get it into the oven before the storm comes, or it won't be real thunder cake." She bustled into the kitchen. Her eyes surveyed the black clouds away off in the distance. Then she strode further into a cupboard. Her worn hands pulled a thick book from the shelf above the wood stove. "Let's find that recipe, child," she crowed as she lovingly fingered the grease-stained pages to a crease spot. "Here it is, thunder cake." She carefully penned the ingredients on a piece of notepaper. "Now let's gather all the things we need," she exclaimed as she scurried towards the back door. We were by the barn door when a huge bolt of lightning flashed. I started counting like Grandma told me to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then the thunder roared. 10 miles. He's 10 miles away, Grandma said as she looked at the sky. About an hour away, I'd say. You'll have to hurry, child. Gather them eggs, careful like, she said. Eggs from mean old Nellie Peckhen? I was scared. I knew she'd try to peck me. I'm here, child. She won't hurt you. Just get them eggs, Grandma said softly. The lightning flashed again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I counted. Oh, the thunder rolled again. He's 9 miles away, my grandmother reminded me. Milk was next. Milk from old Kit Cow. As Grandma milked her Kit Cow, that cow turned and looked mean right at me. I was scared. She looked so big. Zip went the lightning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I counted. Baroom went the thunder. 8 miles, child, Grandma croaked. Now we have to get chocolate and sugar and flour from the dry shed deep in the woods next to our barn. I was scared as we walked down the path from the farmhouse through tangleweed woods to the dry shed. Suddenly the lightning slit the sky again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I counted. Ba-boom! Crashed the thunder. It scared me a lot, but I kept walking with my grandmother. Another jagged edge of lightning flashed as I crept into the dry shed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I counted. Crackle, crackle, boom, kaboom, boom. The thunder bellowed. It was dark and I was scared. I'm here, child, Grandma said softly from the doorway. Hurry now. We haven't got much time. We've got everything but the secret ingredient. Three overripe tomatoes and some strawberries, Grandma whispered as she squinted at the list. I climbed up on a high trellis. The ground looked a long way down. I was scared. I'm here, child, she said. Her voice was steady and soft. You won't fall. I'm here. I reached 3 luscious tomatoes while she picked the strawberries. Lightning again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I counted. Kabang, boom, boom, the thunder growled. It was getting dark, just like it is in here. Things weren't very bright. We hurried back to the house with the warm kitchen, and we measured the ingredients. I poured them into the mixing bowl while Grandma mixed. I churned butter for the frosting and melted chocolate. Finally, we poured the batter into the cake pans and put them into the oven together. Lightning lit the kitchen. I only counted to 3 this time, and boom, boom, the thunder roared. 3 miles away, Grandma said, and the cake is in the oven. We made it. We'll have a real thunder cake. As we waited for the cake, Grandma looked out the window for a long time. Why, you aren't afraid of thunder. You're too brave, she said as she looked right at me. Well, I'm not brave, Grandma, I said. I was under the bed, remember? but you got out from under it, she answered. And you got eggs from mean old Nellie Pecken. You got milk from old Kick Cow. You went through tangleweed woods to dry shed. You climbed the trellis in the barnyard. From where I sit, only a very brave person could have done all them things. I thought and thought as the storm rumbled closer. She was right. I was brave. Brave people can't be afraid of a sound. Brave people cannot be afraid of a sound, child, she said. We spread out the tablecloth and set the table. And when we were done, we hurried into the kitchen to take the cake out of the oven. After the cake had cooled, we frosted it. Just then the lightning flashed, really flashed, and the whole sky lit up. Even before the last flash had faded, the thunder rolled, broom, broom, crash, boom, 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 just above us. The storm was here. The house was dark. Perfect, Grandma cooed, just perfect. She beamed as she added the last strawberry to the top of the thunder cake. As the rain poured down on the roof, Grandma cut a wedge for each of us. She poured us steaming cups of tea from the samovar. When the thunder roared again, it was above us and it shook the windows and rattled the dishes in the cupboard. We just smiled and ate our thunder cake. From that time on, I never feared the voice of thunder ever again. Turn up the rheostat.
I didn't realize it.
There it is. Now what I want you children to see in the back of the book is the actual recipe for thunder cake. And as you see, we have one right here, and my grandmother's very own samovar. So let's say I'm going to have a little cup of tea, and I'm going to cut a wedge of that cake pretty soon, and I'm going to sit and eat it, and I'm going to remember those wonderful times on my grandmother's farm, and those glorious days of loud thunder and crackling lightning. I want you to know, all of you, you're probably scared, and you're probably very sad. The home that you love and know could be under feet of water, or maybe in some of your cases it's disappeared altogether, but things in your life have changed dramatically. Your favorite dolls, your doll houses, your little cars, your toys, the photographs that you love, that you've collected, all of the things that are about your life have probably been swept away in a current of water. But I can assure you of this. I've been through 3 tornadoes here on this farm, and I have had great loss. And at the time it hurts terribly, and you're very sad, and you wonder if life will ever be the same. But here's the beauty of it in a way. You have the opportunity now to reinvent. Maybe your house will be rebuilt, or maybe you're going to move to an entirely different place. But wherever you are, you're going to find home, because you know what? This is something my grandmother always used to say to me. Home, darling, is where your heart is. Home is where your heart is, babies. And know that people across this nation are thinking of you, and we love you, and we're hoping for the best for you and your families. And thank you for spending this time with me on my little farm in Michigan. And I'm about ready to cut a great big piece of that cake. Actually, I might eat the whole thing. I'm thinking about it. But God's blessings on all of you. Goodbye.